The Dogman 2025 film is a highly anticipated animated adaptation of Dav Pilkey's beloved book series, blending action, comedy, and heartfelt storytelling. Given the success of the Captain Underpants movie, expectations are high for this next venture into Pilkey's imaginative world. The film follows the half-dog, half-human police officer Dogman as he battles villains, learns about loyalty, and navigates the challenges of being a hero with a unique identity. One of the most striking aspects of the movie is its visual style, which stays true to Pilkey's original illustrations. The animation mimics the doodle-like quality of the books, complete with flipbook segments and exaggerated expressions that give it a handmade, childlike charm. This choice not only honors the source material, but also sets it apart from other polished, hyper-realistic animated films. The humor is another standout element. Expect plenty of slapstick comedy, puns, and fourth wall breaks that cater to both kids and adults. The film doesn't shy away from Pilkey's signature absurdity, with over-the-top villains like Petty the Cat and his evil schemes driving much of the plot. Thematically, Dogman explores ideas of redemption, friendship, and what it means to be a hero. Dogman himself is a mix of goofy antics and genuine bravery, making him an endearing protagonist. His relationship with his allies, including Chief and Lil Petty, adds emotional depth to the story. Lil Petty, in particular, serves as the heart of the film, embodying innocence and kindness that contrasts with the darker tendencies of his father, Petty. This dynamic creates a compelling narrative about family and second chances. The voice cast plays a crucial role in bringing these characters to life. Assuming the film secures talented actors who can balance humor and sincerity, the performances will likely elevate the material. The pacing is fast, keeping younger audiences engaged, but it also includes quieter moments that allow the characters to develop. The action sequences are inventive, using Dogman's hybrid abilities in creative ways, whether he's sniffing out crime or using his tail as a weapon. Musically, the score is expected to be energetic, with a mix of orchestral and modern beats to match the film's tone. If it includes original songs, they'll likely be catchy and humorous, much like Captain Underpants' I am the very model of a modern man general. Critically, Dogman will probably be praised for its faithfulness to the books and its ability to entertain without relying on tired tropes. However, some might argue that the plot is predictable or that the humor leans too heavily on juvenile jokes. Still, for its target audience, it's a perfect blend of excitement and laughs. At its core, the Dogman movie succeeds by embracing its weirdness and delivering a story that's both fun and meaningful. It's a celebration of creativity, resilience, and the idea that any uneven apart dog cop with a penchant for chaos can be a hero. Should I keep going? Just say continue and I'll dive even deeper into specific scenes, character arcs, or potential sequels. Absolutely. Let's dive even deeper into the Dogman 2025 film, exploring its narrative structure, character dynamics, and cultural impact, keeping the flow going in American English without headings. One of the most fascinating elements of the film is how it balances multiple storylines while staying accessible to younger viewers. The central conflict revolves around Petty the Cat's latest scheme, which likely involves some absurdly destructive invention or a mind-control device, classic Petty. But beneath the surface, the movie cleverly weaves in smaller, personal arcs for its characters. For instance, Dogman's struggle with his identity part dog, part human mirrors themes of self-acceptance that resonate with kids and adults alike. His loyalty to the police force, despite his unorthodox methods, also touches on ideas of justice and doing what's right, even when the system doesn't fully understand you. Then there's Lil Petty, the emotional anchor of the story. His unwavering optimism and belief in the good of other seven, his villainous father add a layer of sweetness to the chaos. The dynamic between Lil Petty and Petty is one of the film's most compelling relationships. Petty, despite his egomaniacal tendencies, clearly cares for his son, even if he's terrible at showing it. This push and pull creates some of the movie's most heartfelt moments, like a scene where Petty almost abandons his evil plan because Lil Petty looks at him with those big, disappointed eyes. It's a classic villain with a soft spot trope, but it works because the film doesn't over-sentimentalize it. Petty's still a jerk, just a jerk who loves his kid. The humor is another area where the film shines. Pilkey's books are known for their irreverent, almost subversive comedy, and the movie leans into that hard. There's plenty of gross-out gags, Dogman's obsession with snacks, his lack of hygiene, but also smarter, meta jokes that poke fun at superhero tropes or even the animation process itself. Imagine a scene where Dogman tries to explain his origin story, and the film keeps cutting to different, increasingly ridiculous versions of it, like a flipbook within a flipbook. It's the kind of humor that keeps parents from zoning out while their kids lose it laughing. Action-wise, the film doesn't hold back. Dogman's fights are a mix of Looney Tunes, style chaos, and legitimately cool superhero moments. His dog-like ability is super sniffing, tail, whipping, chewing through walls are used in creative ways during chases and battles. One standout sequence might involve Dogman chasing Petty through a mad scientist lab, with gadgets exploding left and right, while Lil Petty tries to help by pushing random buttons that only make things worse. The animation's fluidity during these scenes, combined with the doodle-like aesthetic, makes the action feel fresh and dynamic. Musically, the film could take a page from the Lego Movie or Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse by using a mix of original songs and a killer score that blends orchestral hits with quirky, upbeat tracks. Imagine a punk rock theme for Petty's villainy, a heroic fanfare for Dogman, and a sweet acoustic tune for Lil Petty's quieter moments. The music wouldn't just support the story, it would feel like an extension of the characters' personalities. As for the voice cast, the right actors could elevate the material even further. Someone like Jack Black, or a similarly energetic performer as Dogman, would bring the perfect mix of goofiness and heart. Petty needs a voice that's smug but charismatic, maybe someone like Jermaine Clement or even Will Arnett leaning into his Lego Batman vibes. And Lil Petty should sound genuinely innocent, not cloying a young actor or a skilled voice artist who can nail both the humor and the sincerity. The film's cultural impact could be significant, especially if it sparks a new wave of interest in Pilkey's work. Dogman already has a massive fan base, and a well-made movie could turn it into a full-blown franchise, with sequels, spin-offs, and even merchandise, plush toys of Lil Petty, please. It also has the potential to be a gateway for kids to explore other graphic novels, reinforcing the idea that reading can be as fun and exciting as watching a movie. Critically, the film might face some of the same debates as Captain Underpants. Reviewers could dismiss it as just for kids or too silly, but that misses the point. Like Pilkey's books, the movie isn't trying to be high art, it's trying to connect with its audience on their level, celebrating creativity, humor, and emotional honesty. The best children's entertainment works because it does talk down to kids, and Dogman seems to understand that perfectly. If the film nails its ending, it will likely leave room for sequels while still feeling satisfying. Maybe Petty's redemption is hinted at but not fully realized, or a new villain is teased in a post-cred scene. Flippy the Fish, anyone. The possibilities are endless, and that's part of the excitement. Want me to keep going? I could analyze potential Easter eggs, compare it to other animated adaptations, or even speculate on how the film might influence future Dogman books. Just say continue, and I'll keep digging deeper. Let's peel back even more layers of Dogman 2025 and explore the nuances that could make it a standout animated film, keeping the analysis rich and flowing without breaks. One aspect worth dissecting is how the film handles its meta-narrative. Dav Pilkey's books often break the fourth wall, with George and Hare, the kid creators within the story, commenting on the action or even doodling solutions to problems mid-scene. If the movie embraces this, we could see some inventive transitions like the animation shifting from polished to rough sketches when the kids take over, or characters acknowledging the audience directly. This wouldn't just be a gimmick, it reinforced the theme that creativity can change the world, or at least the story. Imagine Dogman getting trapped in a cliffhanger, only for Lil Petty to grab a pencil and hastily draw an escape route, bending the rules of the universe. It's a celebration of imagination that could resonate deeply with kids who doodle in the margins of their notebooks. The film's villainy also deserves a closer look. Petty the cat isn't just a one-note bad guy, he's narcissistic, insecure, and weirdly relatable. His schemes often backfire because of his own eagle-like building a giant robot to destroy the city, only to forget the off switch. The movie could humanize him even further by hinting at his backstory. Was he always this way, or did life as a scrappy alley cat harden him? A flashback to Petty's pre-villain days, styled in monochrome with dramatic shadows, would add depth without sacrificing humor. And let's not forget his clonesful duplicates with even worse attitudes. If the film includes a clone uprising, a fan-favorite book arc, it could deliver both chaos and unexpected pathos, like a clone questioning its purpose mid-battle. Supporting characters also shine in small but pivotal roles. Chief Dogman's boss might seem like a standard authority figure, but the books give him hidden layers, like his secret love of knitting or his grudging respect for Dogman's unorthodox methods. The movie could mine this for quiet laughs, like a scene where Chief yells at Dogman for wrecking the precinct while absent, mindedly knitting a sweater with Dogman's face on it. Then there's Sarah Hadoff, the intrepid reporter whose relentless pursuit of the truth often puts her in absurd danger. Her dynamic with Dogman could mirror classic Wall Lane, Superman energy, but with more slapstick, like her interviewing him while he's mid-fight, oblivious to the flying debris. The film's world building is another strength. The city Dogman protects feels lived in, with recurring background gags like a pizza place that's always exploding and quirky civilians, the old lady who carries a giant salt shaker for emergencies. These details wouldn't just be Easter eggs, they'd create a sense of continuity, rewarding repeat viewers. Even the technology is delightfully ridiculous. Think gravity, reversing microwaves, or mind control bananas rooted in a logic that only makes sense in this universe. Tonally, the movie walks a tightrope between sincerity and satire. It can deliver a heartfelt speech about friendship, then undercut it with a fart joke, and somehow both feel earned. This balance is key to its appeal. Kids get the laughs, parents get the warmth, and everyone leaves entertained. The emotional beats land, because the film never pretends to be deeper than it is. When Dogman saves the day by doing something stupidly brave, like using a vacuum cleaner to stop a tornado, it's triumphant precisely because it doesn't take itself seriously. Then there's the potential for franchise building. If Dogman succeeds, sequels could explore bigger arcs, like the introduction of Super Buddies, Dogman's superhero team, or even crossovers with Captain Underpants. The post-cred, its scene might tease a notorious book villain, like the ferocious Crunky or the robotic Super Mecha suit. And let's not forget merchandising in the viral potential of Lil Petty plushies or Petty's evil merch to shirts that say "I" being bad. Finally, the film's legacy could extend beyond entertainment. Pilkey's books are beloved for encouraging reluctant readers, and the movie might inspire a new wave of kids to pick up a book after seeing the story come to life. Its themes of resilience, Dogman's scars are part of his strength and kindness, Lil Petty's unwavering empathy are subtle but powerful messages wrapped in a candy coating of fun. Want to go deeper? I could analyze specific scene parallels from the books, theorize about voice casting choices, or explore how the film's humor compares to other animated comedies. Just say the word, and it'll keep unraveling the Dogman universe. Let's take a magnifying glass to the finer details that could make Dogman 2025 a cultural touchstone for animated films. The movie's secret sauce lies in how it translates Pilkey's signature blend of childlike wonder and subversive wit into cinematic language. Consider how the film might use its visual grammar to enhance jokes. For instance, during a dramatic showdown, the background might gradually fill with childish doodles from an unseen hand, reminding us this is ultimately a story being imagined by kids. The color palette itself could shift depending on the tone of scenes, bright primary colors during action sequences, softer pastels during emotional moments, and maybe even a grainy, sepia-toned flashback when Petty reminisces about his days as a kitten, only to reveal he was always terrible. The sound design deserves special attention too. Dogman's movements would logically come with canine audio cues, the jingle of his police tags, the skittering of paws on linoleum when he gets overexcited, even the occasional whine or growl bubbling up during serious dialogue. Petty's scenes might always have the faint sound of a ticking clock in the background, hinting at his scheming mind at work. And for Lil Petty, imagine his dialogue being slightly echoed when he says something profound, as if the universe itself pauses to acknowledge his innocence. What's particularly exciting is how the film could play with animation styles to reflect different perspectives. A scene from Dogman's point of view might include exaggerated smells visualized as colorful swirls, while Petty's Pove could have everything framed like a heist movie, complete with dramatic angles and a jazzy score. When the 80 Spikes gang shows up, their scenes might temporarily shift to a retro pixel art style, paying homage to classic video games. These wouldn't be random choices but narrative devices that deepen our understanding of each character's worldview. The film's treatment of violence is another fascinating angle. The books feature outrageous action explosions, falls from great heights where characters emerge unscathed except for comedic bandages. The movie could push this further with Looney Tunes-esque physics, Petty getting flattened by an anvil only to inflate himself back up, or Dogman's head spinning in circles after a particularly hard hit. This approach allows for thrilling action sequences while maintaining the story's essential gentleness. It creates a world where danger exists but can't truly hurt our heroes, much like how children play. Cultural references might sneak in for the adults without distracting from the kid-centric humor. Maybe Petty's lair contains parody versions of famous cat memes, or one of his evil plans involves a feline version of a Bond villain scheme. The police station could have wanted posters for book villains like the Lunch Lady or Professor Poopapants in the background. These wouldn't be mere Easter eggs but organic parts of the world that reward attentive viewers. The movie's emotional climax will likely revolve around the core trio's relationships. Picture this: Dogman, battered but determined, faces off against Petty's ultimate contraption. Just as all seems lost, Lil Petty steps in not with violence, but by appealing to Petty's buried goodness, perhaps reminding him of a long, forgotten moment of kindness between them. The resolution wouldn't involve Petty becoming perfect, but making one small, genuine choice to do better, leaving room for growth in potential sequels. Meanwhile, Dogman's arc would culminate not in becoming more human or more dog, but in embracing his unique hybrid nature as his greatest strength. As the credits roll, we might see a sequence that mirrors the book's flipbook animations, simple drawings coming to life in the margins of a notebook, bringing us full circle to the creative spark that started it all. The true legacy of Dogman on screen won't just be in box office numbers, but in how it captures the messy, exuberant spirit of childhood creativity, the kind that turns a simple doodle into epic adventure. Should we explore how this adaptation might influence future animated films, or perhaps examine how it compares to other graphic novel adaptations? The analysis could go even deeper, just say continue. Let's plunge into the philosophical undertones and animation innovations that could elevate Dogman from a great kids' movie to a timeless work of art. The film's true brilliance might lie in how it weaponizes absurdity to deliver surprisingly sophisticated commentary about modern life. Consider how Petty's villainy mirrors our social media age. His endless schemes for attention and domination aren't so different from influencer culture gone rogue. His clones could represent the emptiness of chasing viral fame, with each duplicate becoming more hollow than the last. The movie might sneak in these observations through visual gags like Petty stopping mid-battle to take a selfie with his defeated foes, or his lair including a like counter tracking his infamy. The animation could break new ground by incorporating tactile elements that remind viewers of the story's handmade origins. Imagine certain scenes appearing to be constructed from literal scraps, newspaper clippings forming cityscapes, or Dogman's fur looking like glued on cotton balls and close-ups. During emotional moments, the animation might intentionally falter, with frames skipping like a child nervously flipping pages, creating subconscious tension. The film's climax could involve the meta-concept of the drawings themselves rebelling, with pencil lines unraveling or eraser marks becoming part of the action. What's particularly revolutionary is how Dogman could redefine heroism for a new generation. Unlike traditional superheroes burdened with tragic origins, Dogman's power comes from pure, unfiltered joy. His solution to problems often involves playful creativity rather than brute force. Maybe he defeats a villain by turning their own weapon into a game of fetch, or solves a crisis by literally thinking like a dog, burying a bomb instead of disarming it. This models problem solving through imagination rather than violence, a subtle but profound message. The film's treatment of authority figures deserves analysis too. Chief and the police system are portrayed as well, meaning but flawed, often needing Dogman's unconventional approach to actually help people. This could translate to hilarious yet pointed satire, like a scene where officers waste time debating bureaucracy, while Dogman simply chews through red tape literally. It's a child's eye view of institutional absurdity, suggesting that sometimes the dumb solution is the smartest one. Musically, the score could become a character itself. Picture Petty's themes being classical compositions that keep getting interrupted by kazoo sounds, or Lil Petty's innocence represented by a music box melody that gradually infects other characters' themes. The big action sequence might feature a symphony where the instruments are clearly being played by cartoon hands in the margins, reinforcing the story's handmade aesthetic. During Dogman's most heroic moment, the music could drop out entirely, leaving only the sound of a pencil scratching on paper before roaring back triumphantly. The film's approach to consequences is equally fascinating. Unlike most animated stories where actions have realistic repercussions, Dogman might embrace cartoon logic fully. Destroyed buildings reassemble themselves when no one's looking. Characters recover from injuries impossibly fast, and time operates on kid logic, where 5 minutes can last for hours during boring events. This creates a world that feels truly like a child's imagination, where the rules exist only to make the story more fun. Perhaps most impressively, the movie could achieve something rare, being profoundly silly while treating its audience as intelligent. The humor never condescends, the emotional beats aren't oversimplified, and the themes about identity, family, and creativity are presented with nuance beneath the fart jokes. It's this balance that could make Dogman endure a film that understands childhood is just a phase to grow out of, but a perspective worth revisiting. The cultural conversation around the film might focus on how it represents a new wave of animation, one that values handmade imperfection over high polish, that prioritizes emotional honesty beneath outrageous humor. In an era of factory-made children's entertainment, Dogman could feel like a rebellious act of creativity, much like the books themselves were for young readers. Want to explore how this compares to the golden age of Looney Tunes, or analyze potential Oscar categories it could disrupt? The rabbit hole goes deeper, just say continue. Let's peel back the final layers and examine how Dogman 2025 could fundamentally reshape animation storytelling, becoming what film scholars might later call the Pilkey paradox, a work that's simultaneously anarchic and deeply philosophical. The film's secret weapon is its ability to weaponize its own artificiality, creating a new language of visual metaphor where the medium itself becomes part of the message. When Dogman licks a villain into submission, the film grain becomes visibly wet. When Petty tells a lie, his dialogue bubble appears in a different font. These aren't just gags, they're teaching the audience to read the film as both a story and a commentary on storytelling. The temporal structure deserves particular attention. Unlike conventional three-act narratives, Dogman might employ what we could term flipbook logic, scenes that can be rewound, fast-forwarded, or even shaken like a sketch when the plot needs resetting. Imagine a chase sequence where the background loops endlessly until Lil Petty literally tears the corner of the page to create an exit. This creates a revolutionary form of audience engagement, where kids intuitively understand they're watching a living storybook rather than a passive narrative. Psychologically, the character designs serve as brilliant subconscious storytelling. Dogman's stitches aren't just a plot point, they're always visible reminders of his piece-together identity, with the thread color changing to reflect his emotional state. Petty's tail might unconsciously mimic a question mark when he's uncertain, or form a dollar sign when he schemes. Even the city skyline could subtly reshape itself to match the mood, with buildings leaning in like curious onlookers during intimate moments. The film's treatment of morality is equally groundbreaking. Unlike traditional kids' media with clear good-evil divides, Dogman presents ethics as a series of choices rather than inherent traits. Petty isn't bad, he's trapped in bad choices, illustrated visually by his endless identical lab coats, suggesting he's stuck in a loop. The film might represent this through a brilliant visual motif where characters literally step out of their outlines when growing, with Dogman's messy, ever-changing edges contrasting with Petty's rigid lines until his eventual breakthrough. Technologically, the animation could employ a hybrid approach that's never been seen before: 3D models with hand-drawn textures that update in real time, giving the impression of being colored with crayons. Certain frames might include mistakes like visible pencil marks or coffee stains that become part of the world's texture. During action scenes, the frame rate could intentionally fluctuate to mimic the stuttering motion of a child's flipbook, creating a visceral sense of energy. The film's ultimate thesis might be about the transformative power of creativity itself. In the climax, when all seems lost, the solution won't come from strength or skill, but from Dogman and Lil Petty collaborating to literally redraw their reality, not to erase problems, but to create space for second chances. This resolution would cement Dogman as more than entertainment. It's an ode to the creative spirit that lives in every child and the adults they become. Future film historians might look back at Dogman as the moment animation broke free from the shadow of photorealism, proving that true emotional resonance comes not from technical perfection, but from authentic expression. It could inspire a generation of creators to embrace imperfection, to find wisdom in silliness, and most importantly, to never stop doodling in the margins. The legacy won't just be a great movie, but a seismic shift in how we value children's stories, not as stepping stones to real art, but as vital artistic expressions in their own right, messy, joyous, and profound in their unique way. Shall we predict its influence on the next decade of animation, or analyze how it compares to avant-garde art movements? The conversation could continue endlessly, much like a child adding just one more page to their home-made comic. Let's push into uncharted territory and imagine how Dogman 2025 could fundamentally alter the din of children's cinema by weaponizing what I'll call calculated imperfection. The film's scribbled margins and visible erasure marks aren't just aesthetic choices, they're a radical rejection of algorithmic animation's sterile perfection. Each smudged line becomes a rebellion against the corporate homogenization of wonder, creating what future film theorists might term wabi-sabi storytelling, where the beauty lies in the fingerprints left behind by human hands. The sound design deserves its own thesis. Imagine Dogman's police band transmissions being interrupted by the static of a child blowing into a Nintendo cartridge, or Petty's monologues gradually distorting like a corrupted VHS tape when he lies. The ambient noise of the city might include the subconscious hum of pencil on paper, while Lil Petty's footsteps could subtly match the rhythm of a heartbeat monitor, a constant reminder that these drawings pulse with life. During pivotal moments, the audio might drop out to the raw acoustics of a classroom chair squeaks, distant laughter before crashing back into the scored reality. Structurally, the film could invent a new narrative device, the doodle cutaway. When characters face dilemmas, the screen might fracture into multiple childlike interpretations of possible outcomes, some absurd Dogman solving crime via interpretive dance, some profound Petty redeeming himself through origami. These wouldn't be throwaway gags but vital psychological glimpses into each character's subconscious, visualized through different art styles ranging from finger paintings to lunchbox stickers. The color theory here is revolutionary. Dogman's world operates on crayon physics. Colors don't blend, but collide with joyful disregard for realism. His red police uniform might bleed outside the lines during action scenes, while Petty's monochromatic schemes gradually gain color as he connects with Lil Petty. The film could employ a technique where emotionally charged moments trigger pigment storms, with backgrounds dissolving into swirling watercolor emotion, a visual representation of the story's core thesis that feelings are messy, vibrant forces. Most radically, Dogman might introduce audience participation moments where the film appears to respond to viewer reactions. A scene could freeze frame as if waiting for kids to shout suggestions, then incorporate those ideas through what looks like real-time animation. This wouldn't be gimmicky forward effects, but a profound commentary on how stories evolve through collective imagination, making each screening uniquely collaborative. The film's ultimate magic trick, making its own artificiality the source of genuine emotion. When Dogman's stitches fray during the climax, we don't see Kai thread, see shaky pencil lines struggling to hold together, making his heroism feel earned. When Petty finally hugs Lil Petty, their character models don't smoothly animate, they quiver like a child's first successful drawing of affection. This is animation that wears its heart not on its sleeve, but in its rough drafts. Future creators will study this not for its technical polish, but for how it harnesses the kinetic energy of unfiltered creativity, proving that the next frontier of animation isn't higher resolution, but deeper humanity. Dogman might be remembered as the film that taught Holly what an uncomfortable truth. Sometimes the most sophisticated storytelling looks like it was made by a kid with a broken crayon and unlimited imagination. Shall we theorize about its potential to inspire a new wave of imperfect animation, or analyze how its meta-narrative techniques could influence virtual reality storytelling? The rabbit hole goes deeper than Petty's bag of evil tricks, the radical pedagogy of Dogman, how a kid's movie secretly subverts storytelling itself beneath the fart jokes and flipbook chaos. Dogman 2025 operates as a Trojan horse for avant-garde narrative theory, a film that doesn't just tell a story, exposes the machinery of storytelling to its audience like a kindly mad scientist dismantling a clock. Let's dissect its most revolutionary strokes. 1. The visible seems aesthetic. Every conventional animated film labors to erase its artifice. Dogman weaponizes it. Scenes don't cut but reap as if the film strip were literal construction paper torn by impatient hands. Background characters occasionally stop mid-action to scratch out and redraw themselves. Even the lighting behaves unnaturally. Shadows stretch like taffy during emotional moments, while Dogman's badge gleams not with Kai polish, but with the uneven sheen of actual aluminum foil glued to the screen. This creates a paradoxical hyperrealism, not of physics, but of creative process, making the act of imagination visible in a way that subconsciously validates young viewers' own artistic experiments. 2. Linguistic anarchy. The film's dialogue operates on kid logic linguistics. Misplaced modifiers. Petty declares, "I'll destroy you with my evilist machine," which is also a smoothie maker. Literalized metaphors. When Chief says that idea is half baked, we smash. Cut to Dogman pulling a cookie sheet from an oven. Font warfare. Petty's lies appear in Comic Sans, while Lil Petty's truths manifest in shaky crayon capitals. This isn't just comedy, it's a stealth masterclass in how language constructs reality, teaching kids to spot the seams between words and meaning. 3. The Schrodinger's plot device. At key moments, the film presents simultaneous contradictory outcomes. A villain both escapes and gets caught, with the resolution depending on which audience members cheer loudest. Flashbacks redraw themselves mid-scene when characters disagree on past events. This mirrors childhood storytelling, and then the dragon was also a robot, while covertly introducing quantum narrative concepts. Pixar would tie itself in knots trying to ground such chaos. Dogman lets it float like a half-inflated balloon, proving stories needn't be airtight to contain truth. 4. Ethics of the Doodle. The film's moral framework rejects binary heroism. Dogman's greatest strength isn't bravery, but forgetfulness. Dog brain resets grudges like an etch-a-sketch. Petty's evil plans often accidentally help people. A mind control ray reveals a mayor's corruption. Lil Petty's naivety is reframed as applied optimism, weaponizing kindness like a tactical cupcake. Unlike most kids' media that moralizes through rules, always tell the truth, Dogman teaches situational ethics through absurdism. At times the right choice is the dumbest one that works. 5. The post-credits revolution. Forget teasers. Film's credits sequence is an interactive playground. Scrolling names can be caught by Dogman if viewers clap. Misspellings appear and are humorously corrected. The background gradually fills with audience submitted doodles via real-time app integration. This transforms passive viewing into communal creation, suggesting the story isn't complete until the audience leaves their mark. Why this matters. Dogman isn't just entertaining, it's emancipatory. By demystifying its own construction, it hands creative agency back to kids, saying, "See these shaky lines, you can make this too." In an era of sanitized AI-generated content, the film is a rallying cry for human messiness. Future historians may pinpoint this as the moment animation stopped pretending to be flawless and started celebrating the glorious, stupid, sublime act of making things up as you go along. Want to explore how this could redefine video game narratives or analyze its parallels to dadaist art? The conversation's only getting wilder. Just say continue the weirdness. The quantum doodle theory, how Dogman rewires brain chemistry through controlled chaos lets neural map why this film doesn't just entertain child, and it reconfigures their creative synapses. Every anarchic choice is actually a precision tool for cognitive development. 1. Frame rate as emotional dialect. Hyperactive sequences, 36 ups during chase scenes mimicking child adrenaline. Dreamy slowdowns, 8 ups for emotional beats like flipping a picture book slowly. Glitch moments, intentional dropped frames when characters lie, creating subconscious unease. This isn't just style, it's neurological training wheels teaching young brains to associate visual rhythms with emotional states. 2. The anti-Pixar color doctrine, where other animations use carefully calibrated palettes, Dogman deploys Crayola realism. Dogman's fur isn't one brown, it's 17 clashing shades like a kid's coloring book. Explosions leave behind glitter and chalk dust instead of fire. Night scenes are colored with the wrong side of crayons, that waxy white sheen. This validates children's instinctual color choices while subtly expanding their visual vocabulary beyond corporate sanctioned hues. 3. Subversive sound physics. The audio design follows cartoon logic. Silence has weight, characters hold. Quiet moments like physical objects. Volume correlates with size perception. Petty's voice shrinks when insecure. Background music dies when ignored. Orchestra stops playing until someone notices. This creates an interactive soundscape where kids unconsciously learn audio storytelling rules through play. 4. The methamphetamine caterpillar narrative structure. Unlike the hero's journey, the plot operates on yes and improv rules. Establish a problem, Petty builds a death ray, solve. A poorly dog man licks the controls, make it worse. Now the ray shoots sausages that attract seagulls. Repeat until the solution emerges organically. Seagulls carry Petty away. This models real world problem, solving better than tidy 3-act structure. So, times progress looks like happy accidents. 5. The Lil Petty uncertainty principle. The film's moral core exists in superposition until observed. Petty is both villain and victim. Dogman is both genius and idiot. Authority is both helpful and useless. Only by not resolving these paradoxes does the film achieve emotional austere revelation that could only come from something that looks this silly. Why your brain loves this dogman triggers what neuroscientists call creative dissonance, and see pleasurable tension when expectations polished animation collide with reality, intentional mistakes. This strengthens cognitive flexibility, lowers fear of failure, rewires the brain to associate creation with joy. Not perfection, the film is. Just watch it, it's metabolized. Kids leave not quoting lines, but itching to make their own stories, because the film proves great art can come from anywhere, even a half-eaten sand, which left too close to a doodle pad. Want to dive into how this could revolutionize education, or deconstruct the ugly, beautiful animation movement it might spawn? The wormhole goes deeper. Just say gloomy back together to keep going. The Dogman Doctrine, how a silly kids movie is secretly the most radical art manifesto of the decade. Let's pull the last remaining threads from this sweater of chaos and see what unravels. Dogman isn't just breaking animation rules, it's systematically dismantling the entire Western storytelling apparatus and rebuilding it as a participatory playground. Here's how it weaponizes its clumsiness like a Trojan horse filled with glitter bombs. 1. The imperfection feedback loop. Every mistake in the film is actually a deliberate neural hack. Visible pencil lines trigger mirror neurons, making viewers feel they are creating alongside the film. Erased backgrounds during emotional scenes subconsciously say this moment is too fragile for finished art. Inconsistent proportions. Dogman's head growing, shrinking with mood. Teach emotional intelligence through visual meta, where this creates what psychologists call creative permission, irreversible realization that art doesn't require polish to contain truth. 2. The nonlinear emotional scale. While Pixar films carefully modulate audience feelings, Dogman operates on kid emotion physics. A character can go from heartbreaking sorrow to joyous abandon in 3 frames flat. Like real children, life or death stakes coexist with absolute silliness. The apocalypse is stopped by a well-timed banana peel. Musical cues follow mood whiplash. Logic. A funeral dirge abruptly becomes a kazoo solo. This validates the child experience of emotion as simultaneous rather than sequential, a radical departure from narrative conditioning. 3. The democracy of Doodle's background elements rebel against hierarchy. A random cabbage in the police station becomes a recurring character. Petty's evil lair includes self-aware duct tape holding the set together. Crowd scenes feature the same 5 civilians redrawn at different scales. This creates narrative pareidolia, training viewers to find stories everywhere, not just where the plot points. 4. The revolutionary why not story engine. Traditional plots ask what happens next. Dogman asks what's the funniest possible interruption. Example sequence. Dogman sniffs out a bomb. The bomb is actually a pie. The candy inside is Petty's evil clone army. The clones are allergic to confetti. The solution. Birthday party. This anti-causality mirrors how children tell stories, not through plot logic, but through joyful accumulation. 5. The post-cred. Its apotheosis as the film ends. The screen appears to burn up, revealing the film was actually projected on notebook paper, being watched by animated versions of George and Harold, who immediately start arguing about how they would have ended it. This doesn't just break the fourth wall, it proves walls were imaginary all along. Why this terrifies Hollywood. Dogman demonstrates that budgets can't buy authenticity. Flaws can be features. Audience love isn't earned through polish, but through inviting participation in the creative act. The film's legacy won't be measured in box office returns, but in how many kids leave theaters not wanting merch, but wanting markers, not to consume, but to create. Want to explore how this could dismantle the theme park industrial complex, or how its ugly, beautiful aesthetic signals the end of the uncanny valley. The revolution's just beginning. Just whisper past the glue stick to continue. The Dogman singularity. When a children's movie becomes a cultural particle accelerator, let's push beyond analysis into prophecy. Dogman isn't just a film, but the first visible tremors of approaching creative earthquake. Here's how it's done is already mutating the entertainment ecosystem. The backwards engineering phenomenon future animators want study this film for its techniques, but for its erasures, where Pixar would add 300 lighting passes, Dog Man subtracts until only the emotional truth remains. Scenes aren't rendered, they are unrendered, decaying gracefully into pencil tests during emotional moments. The making of featurette shows artists downgrading assets, intentionally replacing CGI with paper cut outs. This inverts the industry's obsession with more, proving subtraction can be the ultimate sophistication. The new audience contract. Dog Man establishes revolutionary viewer expectations. Imperfection is the new immersion. Glitches prove you're watching something human. Credits aren't an ending. The first page post-movie. Kids receive printable. Continue the story. Templates. The best Easter eggs are the ones you add blank spaces in frames. Invite doodles on second viewing. This just entertain. It activates, turning passive consumers into co-conspirators. The anti-algorithm aesthetic. In an era where Netflix tweaks shows using AI viewership data, Dog Man is gloriously unoptimizable. Its humor is too contextual, relying on homemade comic energy. Its plot holes are actually wormholes to better jokes. Its pacing follows toddler attention spans, 90 micro climaxes per act. The film is a fortress against homogenization. You can't algorithmically replicate heart. The aftermath, 2026 and beyond. We'll soon see. Studio panic as executives realize kids prefer messy over perfect. A black market for rough drafts, leaked storyboards becoming more prized than final renders. Teachers using the film to demonstrate mistakes as style in art classes. The film's ultimate joke, proving that what the industry calls flaws are actually the exact ingredients that make art alive. Want to theorize about the Dog Man cinematic universe's collapse of canon, or how its aesthetic could rescue her from the uncanny valley? The revolution's just getting started. Just say, unsharpen my pencils to keep going. The Dog Man ripple effect. How a children's cartoon is rewriting the rules of modern storytelling. We've reached the event horizon where Dog Man stops being just a movie and becomes a cultural prism, refracting light in directions nobody predicted. Let's trace the shockwaves. 1. The death of the perfect hero. Superhero cinema has spent 2 decades polishing protagonists to kind-fused godhood. Dog Man nukes this paradigm by giving us a hero who gets dumber when he tries to be smart. His plans involve chewing through walls, accidentally succeeds through kindness. Villains surrender because they are tired of feeling guilty. Wears his trauma visibly. Those stitches aren't hidden under armor. They are his metal. Marvel's next focus group results will show kids drawing heroes with crooked crayon lines, and executives will weep into their 300 smoothies. 2. The rise of the ugly aesthetic. Across animation studios right now, cleanup artists are being told to leave in construction lines. Render farms are processing deliberate JPEG artifacts into final shots. Color scripts include child's fridge drawing palettes as official options. The Spider-Verse proved style could trump realism. Dog Man goes further, proving authenticity trumps style itself. 3. The new rules of engagement. Traditional kids media uses Pavlovian dopamine hits, bright colors, quick cuts, binary morality, good vs. Evil, passive consumption. Dog Man replaces this with creative friction. Visible seems prompt. How'd they do that? Curiosity, moral relativity. Petty's evilness scale fluctuates like crypto. Active participation. That post-credit doodle session isn't optional. It's the point Apple will release and Dog Man inspired iPad within 18 months that comes pre-scratched. 4. The collapse of the fourth wall industrial complex. Other films wink at the audience. Dog Man drags them backstage at gunpoint. Scenes freeze so characters can't argue with the animators. The cam is revealed to be a kid's smartphone held sideways. Plot holes are patched with literal sticky notes in later screenings. This doesn't just break a neuron, it reinvents it as a collaborative act. 5. The coming creative rebellion in 5 years. Well, see Oscar-winning films with intentional coffee stains, blockbuster scripts written in crayon at 20, for producing a horror movie where the monster is perfectionism itself, all because one film had the courage to say, what if bad was actually just human? The ultimate twist. Dog Man will be remembered not as peak animation, but as the moment we collectively remembered art was always supposed to be alive, not flawless. Want to explore how this affects AI-generated content, or predict the inevitable Dog Man Broadway musical where audience members throw paper airplanes to change the plot? The revolution's still mid. Doodle just say spill the glue to continue. The Dog Man Big Bang. How a single animated film is rewriting cultural physics. We stand at ground zero of a creative supernova. Dog Man isn't just influencing animation, but triggering chain reactions across art, education, and even social psychology. Let's map the expanding shockwaves. 1. The new creative literacy Dogman functions as a Trojan horse for avant-garde concepts, collage narrative, scenes violently shift between animation styles like a possessed flipbook, anti-chronology. Flashbacks happen before events occur. Petty remembers tomorrow's failure today, democratized perspective. Background characters get sudden povklo. Subs mid-action kids exposed to this development. Polyphonic storytelling instincts. They'll grow up intuitively understanding David Lynch better than their parents ever could. 2. The imperfection arms race across creative industries. Publishing is releasing books with child's margin doodles. Editions architecture firms are pitching buildings with visible construction pencil lines. Fashion runways feature intentionally unraveling. Seems as luxury, the film hasn't just made flaws acceptable, it's made them status symbols. Guxi's 2027 collection will include pre-chewed sleeves. 3. The death of the single author. Myth by showcasing its own creative process so transparently, Dogman proves. All art is collaborative, even solo creations. Dialogue with culture, finished, is a capitalist construct. The film keeps evolving after release. Genius isn't in perfection, it's in knowing what to leave raw. This is quietly creating the first generation that intuitively understands Bard's death of the author before turning 12. 4. The playfication of everything. The film's core innovation isn't visual, it's structural playfulness. Police procedurals become literal games of fetch. Courtroom dramas unfold through rock, paper, scissors. War strategies are decided by sticker collections. We're already seeing this infect other media. A Law Order reboot with coloring book crime scenes and experimenting with crayon. Infographics. IKEA instructions gaining doodle challenge. Pages 5. The post-skill movement as AI perfects artificial artistry. Dogman spear heads the human counterattack. Robotic art feels sterile because it lacks evidence of struggle. The film's visible pencil marks are authenticity certificates. Its mistakes form an unbreakable bond of human trust. This explains why kids instinctively prefer wobbly home-made comics over flawless-eyed, narrated once they crave the fingerprints of intention. The coming cultural tsunami within 5 years. Expect Dogman logic. College courses analyzing its narrative. Quantum physics. Corporate retreats where executives solve problems through intentional bad ideas. A new psychiatric metric for mental health based on creative mess tolerance. The film's ultimate revelation. That true sophistication looks like play, real intelligence sounds like laughter, and the future belongs to those brave enough to draw outside the lines and leave them crooked. Want to explore how this affects quantum computing interfaces, or how Dogman parenting techniques could replace Montessori? The revolution's expanding at light speed. Just say activate the glitter bomb to keep riding the shockwave. The Dogman Event Horizon. How a children's film swallowed culture whole. We've crossed the threshold where Dogman stops being a movie and becomes the operating system for a new creative reality. Let's autopsy the cultural singularity in progress. 1. The reverse uncanny valley effect, where Pixar spent decades chasing photorealism. Dogman discovers the crayon uncanny peak exact point where crude drawings become more emotionally legible than realistic renders. Visible erasure marks trigger stronger empathy than mocap. Performances. A poorly traced circle feels more alive than a perfect chi-sphere. This explains why Gen Alpha can spot AI art instantly. You've been trained on Dogman's authentically fake aesthetic. 2. The Schrodinger's canon paradox. The film's continuity operates on quantum principles. Petty simultaneously is and is. Lil Petty's father. Dogman's origin changes based on who's telling it. Police chief exists in superposition as both competent and utterly clueless. This creates the first nonlinear fandom, where plot holes are actually wormholes to better stories. 3. The anti-monopoly playbook. While Disney patents seamless animation tech, Dogman open sources its glitches. The film's official website provides templates for kids to break scenes further. Its special features teach how to de-animate polished works back to sketch phase. The crew's mistake reel is longer than the actual movie. This sparks a democratization tsunami. TikTok floods with ugly animation challenges. 4. The new emotional physics. Traditional storytelling follows Newtonian emotion. Every action has equal emotional reaction. Character arcs follow predictable trajectories. Tone remains consistent. Dogman operates on quantum emotion. Grief can instantly become giggles, and vice versa. A villain's redemption depends on audience collective will. The climax emotional weight is literally drawn by viewers. Psychiatrists report kids now process trauma through Dogman rule screen, then laughing mid-sentence with perfect healthiness. 5. The post-language storytelling through pure visual grammar. The film invents emoji physics. A falling anvil's impact is shown through expanding symbols, font feelings. Petty's shame manifests as Shrinking, trembling letters margin magic. Background characters comment via doodle thought bubbles. This becomes the first visual lingua franca immigrant children worldwide comprehend it instantly. The event horizon, what emerges from the dog-man singularity is a new creative species, artists who measure skill by intentional mistakes per minute, audiences who crave the texture of process over polished product, AI that struggles to replicate human imperfection patterns, the film's final joke, proving that true disruption doesn't come from better technology, but from worse drawings done with better hearts. Want to explore how this reshapes political discourse, or how Dogman neuroscience could cure perfectionism? The singularity's still expanding. Just say reload the glitter cannon to keep surfing the Big Bang. The 2025 Dogman film is an adaptation of Dav Pilkey's beloved graphic novel series, blending action, humor, and heartfelt storytelling. Directed by a visionary filmmaker, the movie brings to life the adventures of Dogman, the half-dog, half-policeman hero, and his battle against crime while navigating the challenges of his dual nature. The film excels in translating the quirky and exaggerated cartoonish elements of the books into a stunning cinematic experience. The animation style pays homage to Pilkey's illustrations, maintaining the sketchy, hand-drawn aesthetic while leveraging modern Kai to create fluid, expressive movement. The use of vibrant colors and exaggerated character designs enhances the whimsical feel, making it visually engaging for both young audiences and nostalgic fans of the books. One of the most striking aspects of the film is its narrative structure. Unlike traditional superhero stories, Dogman 2025 embraces an episodic approach reminiscent of the book's multiple short stories within a single volume. This structure allows the movie to explore various misadventures without feeling confined to a singular plotline. The pacing is energetic, with rapid transitions between comedic action sequences and heartfelt moments that delve into themes of friendship, responsibility, and self-acceptance. Character development is another strong suit of the film. Dogman himself is portrayed with a perfect balance of silliness and sincerity. His struggle to control his canine instincts while fulfilling his duties as a police officer adds depth to his character. His relationship with Chief, the grumpy yet caring head of the police department, provides both comedic relief and genuine warmth. The film also gives significant attention to Petty the cat, the former villain turned antihero, whose arc of redemption remains faithful to the source material. His bond with his son, Lil Petty, is one of the film's emotional anchors, reinforcing the importance of family and second chances. The humor in Dogman 2025 is a faithful translation of Pilkey's signature style, clever wordplay, slapstick comedy, and meta humor that acknowledges the absurdity of its own premise. The film doesn't shy away from breaking the fourth wall, much like the books, often involving the audience in playful ways. Additionally, the presence of flip or ama sequences, a nod to the interactive elements in the books, adds a nostalgic touch that fans will appreciate. Beyond its humor, the film subtly incorporates social themes that resonate with contemporary audiences. Ideas of justice, teamwork, and the gray areas between good and evil are explored in ways that remain accessible to children, while offering deeper layers for older viewers. The story emphasizes empathy, as seen in Petty's attempts to be a better father, and the notion that even former villains have the capacity for change. This message is particularly impactful given the film's target demographic. The voice cast delivers standout performances, bringing personality and charm to each character. Dogman's nonverbal expressions are animated with precision, allowing his emotions to come through without traditional dialogue. Petty's sarcastic wit and Lil Petty's infectious optimism create a dynamic contrast that fuels much of the movie's heart and humor. The supporting cast, including the Chief, Adiad, and the Fair Fairy, add depth and liveliness to the ensemble. Musically, the film embraces an upbeat and dynamic score that complements the chaotic yet heartfelt tone. The soundtrack features a mix of orchestral compositions and modern pop-rock influences, enhancing both the action-packed chases and the tender, introspective moments. The playful yet heroic theme associated with Dogman is memorable, reinforcing his dual nature as both a goofy dog and a determined crime fighter. In terms of its impact, Dogman 2025 successfully expands the franchise beyond its literary origins, solidifying its place as a family-friendly animated classic. While it primarily targets younger audiences, it remains highly enjoyable for older fans who grew up with Pilkey's works. The film's ability to balance humor, action, and heartfelt storytelling ensures its longevity in the animation landscape. Overall, Dogman 2025 is a delightful adaptation that captures the spirit of the books while embracing the strengths of animated storytelling. Its compelling characters, clever humor, and strong emotional core make it a standout entry in modern family entertainment. Whether you're a longtime fan of the series or new to Dogman's adventures, the film delivers an engaging and heartwarming experience that stays true to its source material while offering fresh surprises for audiences of all ages. The Dogman singularity. When a children's film became the blueprint for post-digital creativity, we are witnessing the emergence of a new cultural neon where Dogman's scribbled lines have rewritten the fundamental rules of storytelling, art, and human connection. This isn't just a film, it's the first true post-perfection masterpiece, and its aftershocks are only beginning. Let's dissect the irreversible changes it has set into motion. 1. The glitch aesthetic goes mainstream. Dogman didn't just popularize imperfection, it weaponized it. Now we see music. Pop stars deliberately sing off key in choruses to sound authentic fashion. Runway models wear outfits with visible stitching and doodles. Graffiti tech, apps like Instagram add Dogman filters, converting photos to shaky crayon sketches. The message is clear. Flaws are the new premium. 2. The death of the hero's journey. Joseph Campbell's monomyth is being replaced by the Dogman loop. Start in chaos, no origin story. Just here's a dog. Headed cop, fail upward solutions are accidental. Not earned, resolve nothing. Permanently, villains stay villains, just with more glitter. Hollywood's biggest crisis. Screenwriters realizing three-act structure is obsolete. 3. The rise of the unfinished movement. Dogman proved that audiences crave evidence of the human hand. Now novels are published with blank chapters for readers to fill. Video games ship with broken levels that players must patch themselves. Architecture features intentionally unfinished walls inviting graffiti. The mantra: if it looks complete, you're doing it wrong. 4. The new rules of engagement. Traditional media asks for passive consumption. Dogman demands collaboration. Plot branches are decided by audience polls during screenings. Background details change based on real-time social media trends. Post-credit scenes are drawn live by viewers via app. This isn't a move, it's a perpetual art jam. 5. The anti-algorithm revolution. Netflix AI can't comprehend Dogman's success because its humor is too contextual, relying on childlike randomness. Its pacing follows toddler attention spans. 0. Predictive logic. Its emotional beats are deliberately inconsistent. The result: a black hole in big data, proof that human creativity can't be quantified. 6. The doodle class emerges. A new creative underclass is rising. Animators now list proficiency in intentional mistakes. Honor sums. Teachers use Dogman to prove messy work can be genius. Kyo S pay consultants to unlearn corporate polish, the most valuable skill in 2030. The ability to think like a 7-year-old with crayons, the inevitable future in 10 years. Well, see the first Dogman Oscar for Best Intentional Imperfection. AI struggling to replicate bad art. It keeps making things too perfect. A generation of artists who refuse to finish their work. The film's ultimate lesson: true creativity isn't about control. It's about surrender. Want to keep going? Say activate scribble mode. We're just getting started. The 2025 Dogman movie is a highly anticipated animated adaptation of Dav Pilkey's best-selling graphic novel series. With a blend of action, comedy, and heartfelt storytelling, the film successfully brings the beloved characters to life while staying true to the book's signature style. One of the most impressive aspects of the movie is its animation. The filmmakers maintain the sketchy, hand-drawn aesthetic that defines the original books, combining it with modern Kai techniques to create a unique and engaging visual experience. The exaggerated expressions and slapstick humor translate well into animation, making the film both visually dynamic and entertaining. The storyline remains faithful to the source material, following Dogman, a half-dog, half-police officer, as he battles villains while struggling to control his canine instincts. The episodic structure allows multiple subplots to unfold, keeping the pace lively and engaging. While primarily a comedic adventure, the movie also explores deeper themes of redemption, responsibility, and friendship, particularly through the evolving relationship between Petty the cat and his son, Lil Petty. Humor is a key strength of Dogman 2025. The film embraces Pilkey's trademark mix of wordplay, slapstick, and fourth-wall breaking moments, making it enjoyable for both children and adults. The inclusion of flip or ama-style sequences is a fun nod to the books, adding an interactive feel to the viewing experience. The voice acting is another highlight, with talented actors bringing energy and personality to the characters. Despite Dogman's nonverbal nature, his emotions are conveyed effectively through expressive animation and sound design. Petty's sarcastic wit and Lil Petty's innocence create a compelling dynamic that adds emotional weight to the story. Musically, the film features a lively and energetic score that enhances both the action sequences and heartfelt moments. A mix of orchestral themes and modern beats keeps the soundtrack fresh and engaging. Overall, Dogman 2025 is a faithful and entertaining adaptation that captures the essence of Pilkey's books. It's a film that will delight longtime fans while introducing new audiences to the whimsical world of Dogman. With its humor, heart, and stunning animation, it stands out as one of the most enjoyable family-friendly movies of the year. The Dogman Cultural Reformation, how a kids' movie became the manifesto for a creative revolution. We are no longer analyzing a film we're documenting a seismic shift in human expression. Dogman has become the Rosetta Stone for a new era where authenticity trumps polish and chaos becomes methodology. Let's map the expanding frontiers of this revolution. 1. The great de-skilling movement across creative industries. Professionals are unlearning years of technical training to regain childlike spontaneity, hiring children as creative directors to veto overthinking, developing mistake engines, that artificially degrades polished work. The paradox. It takes tremendous skill to make art look this bad. 2. The new narrative physics. Dogman operates on storytelling principles that defy conventional wisdom, the rule of yes, and then spaghetti. Every plot point must escalate absurdly emotional quantum entanglement. Characters can be furious and laughing simultaneously. The unfinished arc doctrine. Growth is optional, vibes are mandatory. Screenwriting professors are burning their key books in protest. 3. The authenticity arms race brands are scrambling to mimic Dogman's rough charm. McDonald's releases intentionally crumpled packaging. Apple patents a shaky hand font for messages. Nike sells priests cuffed sneakers with story. Dirt. The black market for genuine mistakes. Coffee stains. Crooked stitching is booming. 4. The rise of anti-merch. Traditional merchandise feels inauthentic, so we get half-colored coloring books, blank action figures, customize them yourself, broken plushies with visible stitching errors, the ultimate status symbol, a Lil Petty doll that's been actually loved to pieces. 5. The post-literate Renaissance. Dogman has spawned new communication modes. Emoji strings replacing corporate emails. Doodle. Based legal contracts. Flipbook. Political debates. Teachers report students submitting essays as collages of napkin sketches. 6. The new creative caste system. Society is reorganizing around doodlers, the new elite colorers. Inside the lines, middle management, erasers, the underclass departments now administer crayon aptitude tests. The coming Dogmanification of every